Ronnie Milsap, welcome to our show Profiles.
Thank you so much, Mickey. Great to be in New York and great to be on your show.
Thank you very much. Of course, you are, for our viewers, one of country music's most popular and influential artists. And we want to welcome, you love New York?
I do, man. I do. I love New York. I spent early time in my career when I was deciding whether I wanted to go to law school.
Really?
Or become a musician.
Tough choice. We're going to talk about that because I know some of the people that influenced you to make the
Early
right
on,
choice.
yeah, there was a lot of musical influences in New York early on.
And there still is.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in an establishment that has two very important influences.
Very important influences in my life.
Which is Ashford and Simpson.
Right.
Because I know at one point you did one of their songs, Let's Go Get Stoned.
I did. I was recording with Scepter Records, which is owned by Florence Greenberg.
Uh-huh.
And they had groups like the Shirelles and Chuck Jackson and Dionne Warwick. And
Burt Bacharach.
Yeah, Florence Greenberg wanted me to be a blues singer. And she had heard some demos that I had done in Atlanta, so she brought me up here to New York. I met Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson.
There you go.
They had this song called Never Had It So Good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I recorded it. It came out on a record, and it was the A-side. And the B-side of this record was called Let's Go Get Stoned.
Yes.
The A-side went to top 5 on the R&B charts and Billboard. Mm-hmm. So I thought, at that point, Mickey, I thought things were starting to roll, man. Things are starting to happen.
Yeah.
And maybe a career in music after all.
Sure.
Now, the Let's Go Get Stoned song, I had met with Ray Charles. I was in college, and I went to Atlanta. I said, I want to get backstage to meet Ray Charles. I said, Mr. Ray Charles, my name's Ronnie Milsap, and you're the high priest. Man, you are the man. I've listened to your music, I've played your music, emulate what you do. And there was a piano in the dressing room. He said, well, play me something. So I played him 3 songs, a couple of songs that probably covers and one I was writing. And he said, well, you could be a lawyer if you want to, but there's a lot of music in your heart.
Right.
And if I were you, I'd follow what my heart tells me to do. But the second time I saw him, he said, I love that record you got out called Never Had It So Good. Okay. He said, man, that's a big record for you.
Yeah.
And I said, you took my advice and you got into, you're doing pretty good. He said, but you know what I like? I like that B-side. That thing called Let's Go Get Stoned. Matter of fact, I like it so much, I'm going to cut it myself. and see, what we thought we were going to do is flip the record and have another hit. But Ray cut his record on that, and he sold 1 million records on his. And that's good for Nick and Valerie because they got that great writer's royalty off of the Ray Charles record.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you're credited with, I believe, 40 #1 hits in country music. Third, I read, to George Strait and Conway Twitty. Great company. At this stage in your career, do you still aspire to have and record new #1 hits?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Still have the passion?
Yes, I do. And I think it's still possible. I think the record business is so different today. This is probably the greatest period of opportunity
You really
for
feel that
somebody like me that you could ever have.
How so?
Because the artists run the business today and not the record companies.
Like in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Right. The record companies told you what you could record and couldn't record, and you need the artistic freedom to do the music that's in your heart and soul, man.
Yeah.
And I love music, love to play the shows. Live shows are the best things that I'll ever do. I'm better live than I ever am in the studio.
Just love being out there.
Well, singing to tape recorders or to Pro Tools or computers and all that.
Yeah.
It's colder.
Yeah.
than singing to people. There's an exchange, there's an electricity that happens with an audience. And they don't know if you had a standing ovation at Pittsburgh last night. If you're in Houston then tonight, man, you got to start from scratch.
Only
all
good as your
over
last
again.
performance.
Yeah, you got to build it up again.
Yeah, that's-
And you got to win them over every time.